Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Sunday. If you're watching this, it's probably Monday morning. Let me kind of fill you in here. I'm putting this on as an introduction to the main video, which you clicked on. You're going to watch in a second, but this is going to be a short intro. And I'm doing this for a couple reasons. I picked up 300 new subscribers this weekend, and a lot of them are younger that'll probably click on this video, but a lot of the viewers that have been watching me for some time now are my age, and they might not be familiar with my references to the MIGOS and to the rapper TAKEOFF. So I wanted to tell you guys, there's a link down below so you're a little more familiar just in case some of you are older and maybe you haven't heard about this. This up-and-coming influential rapper from the group MIGOS, his name was TAKEOFF, met his demise. I have to be very careful how I say things. At a bowling alley, at a private party. And this is the reason, I left this out of the main video that you're going to watch. The thing that always happens when I see an incident like this happen, I always ask myself, here's a person who seems to have the world by the tail. This person is going to become, is on his way to becoming famous and influential and all that. So why would he be in a place that's dangerous? I've thought about this before, like with Biggie or Tupac Shakur, or stuff like that. When people hit heights of success or are on their way to success, and something like this happens, I don't know about you guys, but I've always asked myself, geez, why do they put themselves in danger? Why are they, hanging, because I probably am wrongly assuming that they're hanging out in bad areas or something, in a bad place or with bad people. And something that happened to me Sunday morning made me realize that is completely incorrect. An incident that just happened to me Sunday morning, and it was nothing, but it could have been something. It could have easily been something, and that's why I just wanted to say that, because whenever I see these incidents, an incident like this, TAKEOFF, and like I said, any other influential person, actors, people from the music industry, rappers that meet their demise in a violent fashion like this, I've always asked myself, why do they put themselves in harm's way? They're on their way to having everything. Why? Because you picture when people are in this position that they'll be well guarded and in very safe places, like in the first class of an airplane or the penthouse of a hotel. Why would they put themselves in harm's way? And I realized it's wrong. That was the wrong way to think, because something like these things can happen anywhere, and anything could set them off. And that's what this video is about. So, like I said, the links will be down below for any of you that don't know who TAKEOFF or the MIGOS are, or who TAKEOFF is. And it'll give you a background on the whole story of what happened. They still haven't caught anybody with this. And I just wanted to put that thought. What always comes into my mind when I see something like this happen, I kind of blame the person. Like, why are they hanging out? Why are they putting themselves in harm's way? And I was wrong. I was wrong. So here's the video. Check it out. Leave a comment and have a good Monday. Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Sunday. It's Daryl here. It's not so bright and early. It's 7 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. I just walked in the door from a walk, and I usually do a 4-mile walk around my town here. It's not too far from Hartford. I'm right outside the city of Hartford, and something just happened to me, and a situation just occurred, and it wasn't much at all. It wasn't hardly anything. But it really made me think. And the first thing that came to mind, I know I've talked about celebrities in the last couple of days, and this isn't on purpose. This is what the rapper from the MIGOS, I hope I'm saying that right. I'm such an old man. TAKEOFF from the MIGOS. It made me think about that, and how these things could happen just in the blink of an eye. And I don't think it's not really anybody's fault. It's not because of bad people or honestly, to sum it up really quick, I think that there's so many firearms in this country that it's like a trickle down. You know, people buy thousands and thousands of new ones every year, every day, and they just trickle down and spread out. And more people have them. Back 40 years ago, when I was in my 20s or teens, we handled things a lot different. You know I sound like an old man again, but it was a lot more just fists, hand to hand. Let me fill you in what happened this morning. So I'm going on my walk. It's about a 4-mile walk, and this actual part was about halfway, and it was kind of in the middle of the city that I live in, Bristol, where there was just the incident 2 weeks ago or a month ago with the 2 officers. That's the city I live in. And I was in the downtown section. There's 3 family homes all lined up, gas stations. It's an urban area. And I don't know if you want to call it rough, but so I'm walking down the sidewalk, and a girl comes from the gas station, a woman comes from the gas station, crosses the road in front of me up about 50, 60 feet. We make no eye contact. She's just looking at her scratch offs or whatever, continues on, and then she goes over the lawn into a house that I'm coming up to. And I keep walking, and then as I'm walking up to this house, I see that she's talking to a young, I think he was Hispanic, a young Hispanic guy, probably in his 20s. But the Hispanic guy's on the phone. As soon as I saw him, he's on the phone, his back's facing me, and he's talking to her, and he's looking at his phone, and they're just, having a little conversation about what she bought or whatever. And I'm coming up to the house, and, I don't think either one of them have really noticed me walking by. And just as I'm walking by, the boyfriend or brother, whichever he was, this guy in his 20s, he turns and flicks his cigarette. And I see it. I'm seeing this all happen from my point of view. We make eye. It's the first time that he even saw that I was there, that anybody was there. As he turned around, as that cigarette left his fingers, we made eye contact. It had already left his fingers, and the cigarette came flying at me. And I don't think it hit me. It came awfully close. Okay, and this situation just pops up out of nowhere. First of all, I see that there was, for one quick, brief second, there was a little adrenaline, and I had an image of myself going, what the, I had a brief flash like that. But that quickly went away. This guy had no idea I was there. What am I? It's foolish. He didn't know I was there. There was no harm intended. There was no nothing. So I didn't feel any adrenaline or anything. Here's the interesting thing, though. You would kind of expect that the other guy, the young guy, would say, "Oh, whoops, I'm sorry," but he didn't at all. I could almost see the adrenaline. As soon as it left and we made eye contact, I could almost see the adrenaline, the way he was reacting. Because this is the thing I'm talking about. It's almost in the world we live in now. He had to react a specific way. I think his reaction, there was no doubt that he was going to react hard, because he thought that was the way I was going to react. He thought there was going to be trouble. I saw the adrenaline in his eyes, and I thought about, I was glad there's a dozen ways I could react to it. I'm glad I just kind of looked. I looked at him, I looked at the cigarette, and then I just kept walking. Same expression, basically, it ain't no thing, there's nothing that needs to be said here. And I just keep walking, and I hear them talk and go in the house. I'm glad that I didn't react in any other way. I'm glad I didn't stop and look at it. I'm glad I didn't get angry. I'm glad that I didn't say or wave and go, oh, hey, because that would be a bad way to react too. It just had to be like an unsaid thing, because it wasn't on purpose. Just I shouldn't ignore it, because that looks submissive. Don't wave, because that looks submissive, and I could see the adrenaline in his eyes already, the way he's ready, because he's expecting trouble, In this world, that's how it is. On top of that, this is right at his house or his crib or whatever you want to call it. Hey, I don't know. This guy could be going to seminary school to become a priest. I have no idea, but his home's right there. And if there's any home protection devices, they would be right within arm's reach of where he is. This situation could have turned out completely different. Stuff like this. Look, I just thought about, and then I thought about the Migos and how this, my day could turn. It could end. Everything could end in the blink of an eye, just by an unforeseen occurrence that pops up out of nowhere. And I thought of the Migos. I thought of TAKEOFF. And I'm not saying that's what happened to him, but, I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm not saying it's all the fault of the NRA, but that's where we are right now. That's the kind of world this is where we're at. It's not because of immigration. It's not because of the NRA. It's not because of trans people. It's just everything. It's everything. It's the movies we watch, the music, the macho attitude of men going back hundreds of years, thousands of years. And you got to remember too, his girl or his sister was right there. So my reaction was crucial, and it was no reaction. But I saw in his eyes, that even though this was a complete mistake and his fault or whatever you want to call it, he was ready to go. He was ready to defend him. He was ready to come at me. And, it didn't make me angry or anything, but it just made me think about, it's not a particular person or anybody's fault. It's how everything, it's the culmination of the world we live in. I think about the movies. You think about a lot of movies I see that drive me crazy, that when people shoot. I was watching the A-Team the other night, and you watch the A-Team, and they throw stuff at each other, and they shoot each other, but nobody actually gets shot. There's no blood. And I hate when this happens. They movies and TV shows have always made the mistake of showing violence in this whole other light. Like it's macho, and people could smack each other in the face just, for hours on end. That's not how it really works. That's not how it works at all. You get hit one good time with bare knuckles and teeth come out, bones break on both sides, and the same thing with these guns and these weapons, stuff happens. You don't just, it's not just all happy where the good guy, I think, it's just a culmination of everything we've seen and lived over the years, and where anything could turn into a life or death situation in the blink of an eye. Just something I was thinking about today. But both me and him just go on with our day as normal. And it could have turned out completely different. It could have easily turned out completely different. All right, just something to think about, you guys. Have a good Sunday.